Hey, YouTube, let's do this.
Well, I started this story in the middle of the page. I remembered the lines and forgot my age. When somebody said my attitude was snotty, that's when you call and say get out tonight. I'll catch a late night movie on a late night flight. I'll be getting real drunk and making fun of everybody. Ain't nobody gonna get me down. Something must have gone around. Hey, you can stick that sign up your ass. The one that says it won't last. My sugar buzz is growing higher and higher every day. Your sarcasm cuts like a knife. I'll have the time of my life. My sugar buzz is growing higher and higher every day. To a party last Saturday night. You know, I think I got laid, then I got in a fight. I don't remember that much, but I think I liked it. I saw some band called Roses and Sake, and they brought back the rock, and the singer was cocky. 2 years later, I'm sure they'll forget about it. Ain't nobody gonna get me down. Something must have gone around. Yeah, you can stick that sign up your ass. The one that says it won't last. My sugar buzz is growing higher and higher every day. Your sarcasm cuts like a knife. I'll have the time of my life. My sugar buzz is growing higher and higher every day.
And hey, everybody, welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. How's everybody doing tonight? Glad you're here. Glad to see you. Thanks for being here. Gonna try a call-in show tonight, but a little different. Because the only reliable way I have to bring in audio is through the StreamYard link, and not an actual phone call like I've done in the past. So I'm going to try that tonight. We'll see what happens. Could be crickets, might get flooded, or I could get flooded with crickets. We'll see. We shall see. But I'm going to give it a shot. And so the deal is basically this, is that you just come in through StreamYard. I'm going to make it audio only. So not even going to have, like, you can turn your camera off, whatever. That's great. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep my solo layout here, but bring you into the stream. And so that the audio will be there clearly for everybody to hear. It's really the only way I could do it, and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of the deal. I would love to hear questions, comments, slap me around a little bit. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Disagreement is welcome here, and just don't bring a spear. That's all. That's my only, requirement is that put your spear down. You can disagree with me all you want, and we can have that conversation. That's fine. So that's the deal. I do have the link posted in chat already, and we'll see what happens. Any takers? I know I kind of did this last minute on the fly because I had a window, and that's it. And so we'll just kind of take it from there. Otherwise, while I kind of wait and see what happens, what's going on in the Bigfoot world? Not a hell of a whole lot, other than sort of the norms you get every week, and of course things always go in cycles. There's a couple of things that caught my eye lately. Actually, like a post last night. So Ben Radford jumped into the Bigfoot world and posted something about sort of framing it as he's a little confused why people say they keep things to themselves, as far as like, they don't really want to tell anybody about their Bigfoot encounter because of ridicule. Yet there are people that scream it from the top of their lungs who are Bigfoot celebrities. And I'm like, well, those are two different things, first of all. But he seemed to not understand that. And again, he was conflating it with, entertainers, basically. Anyway, I tried to address it, but I would love to address it more with people, to pick people's brains like Jay Fritz or Jeff Harding, Joe Snyder, Jay Birch, the people that I know who have seen these things. It's like, why did you keep it to yourself? Because I think there's a human nature factor there for ridicule, actual ridicule. But Ben didn't seem to understand that. I tried to articulate it in the comment, and I haven't even looked at the responses, honestly, because I'll just kind of go straight into, well, let me ask these people, And so if I have to put together a show to get people on who have had encounters that and pick their brains as to why they felt they couldn't really tell anybody for sometimes, decades. And of course, once the internet came along, and especially now when you have an entire community dedicated to Bigfoot, where everyone's welcome to tell their story. In fact, they're almost put on a pedestal in a way. Then it's a safe place to tell your story. Again, human nature. Oh, there's a safe place for me to tell my story, and then they do. I know for a fact that like Jay, like that's what happened to Jay Fritz. He didn't talk about his Bigfoot encounter until he had a safe place to tell it. And then even then, it took a little prying to get it out of him, to be honest with you. Sort of like curiosity almost. But anyway, I'm just going to throw the link. So if you want to call in and have a discussion, you're more than welcome to, of course. This is what this is, a call-in show. But I gotta do it through StreamYard tonight. It's just again, it's the only way that I can reliably bring the audio into the mix. And I know that not everybody knows how to use StreamYard or can use it. I can tell you this, like on my computer, which is a MacBook Air, I cannot use StreamYard on Safari, but I can on Google Chrome. But on a newer iPhone, you can use StreamYard on Safari, no problem. So things like that. PC shouldn't matter. But anyway, if you want to come on, questions, comments, slap me around a little bit, slap the pat. We can make it about that. Again, keep your spear lowered. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. If not, then, I'm just going to ramble on like I always do. Because I've got some interesting stuff coming down the pipe. Brave browser. Okay. I got some interesting stuff coming down the pipe. I was on a show recently, a couple of weeks ago, where I kind of got tangled up in just kind of have a good discussion with Brad and Russ, and like sort of my whole agenda for being on the show, the topic what I really wanted to kind of bust out on them, and like on a different platform, really didn't come out right, because it was like the last 5 minutes of the show where we started talking about it, and it got rushed, but it's important stuff, man. And I'll be talking about that in a much deeper, more articulate, visual, understanding way here in the future, which is, I'll tease it a little bit, man, is that, there's going to be some amazing things, mind-blowingly amazing, game-changing, moving the ball down the field things that are 100% coming in the next 5 years, probably sooner than that. I'm privy to this. I understand this. Like, it is coming, and answers will be had one way or another, sooner rather than later. This isn't a lifetime thing. There's big stuff that's on the way. Very big, game-changing, like Patterson Gimlin film, put in the history books where it belongs. Nobody cares about that anymore. Kind of change that is coming soon. So that's that presentation, if you will, is coming down the pipe. So bring it, man. Who's gonna go first? Come on, somebody break the seal. Like like if I know you, then I might just bring you full into the show. There's no hard rules here. I'm just trying to bring people in. And for those of you who are watching and not participating in chat, don't be afraid to hit that link. Again, you through StreamYard, you have an option to not even have a camera, so you don't have to worry about me pulling you up if you don't want to be on screen. This is I'm trying to do a call-in show here, and right now this is the only way I can do it. So again, it'll either be crickets or or I'll have like 10 boxes down at the bottom. Maybe, or trolling crickets. We'll see. But hey, again, you don't have to worry about anything other than your voice being on air. That's it. So somebody break the seal, because that's always the way this works, man. It's not until somebody does it that then everybody else or other people want to jump in. Again, otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and stump speech, which like that gets boring quick. I mean, I might bring Petey in. I might go the entertainment route. We might hear from Petey tonight. If nobody wants to talk, right, well, maybe I'll bring Petey in. You could talk to him. Bigfoot, old lady in the woods. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Dogman, aka wild kangaroos. I mean, I don't want to talk about ghosts or pixies or every cryptid known to mankind. No, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, man. That's what we're talking here. It's the meat and potatoes. It's a thing. True story, Locke. PD might have such a video about him coming his way. Actually, so great. Everybody went. PD, you're the star of the show. I'm gonna change the name of the show to Petey's Squatch Talk, since everybody wants to talk to Petey. Well, come on here and talk to Petey. I can get him. He'll talk to you. If you'd rather talk to Petey than me, just hit the link. Come on in. The water's fine. I put this in a couple of skeptic groups. So, hey, if there's any skeptics biting right now, like, again, please join the discussion, man. We're talking about Bigfoot, aka Sasquatch. And if you want to come in and opine, feel free. It is very welcome here. I'll throw it out there again, and chat's moving along decently. There's one. Again, if I know you, man, I might just bring you into the show as normal. Like, so don't let that, don't let that sway you. I don't know, man. Like, skeptics, I don't know that they're a little skittish. They seem to be pretty engaging. They're pretty engaging, man. Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know which episode it's on, but I could tell you that it was about a year and a half ago, roughly. So kind of got to do the math on that. Whatever episode Wes is on now, he does about 2 episodes a week. So if you do the math, you can kind of dial it in. Yeah, or you can search it. Just go on to Sasquatch Chronicles and do a search with Vaughn's name, because I think his name was on there. Yeah, again, dude, I don't think that's the case. I just don't. Like I've had great success inviting skeptics, like in a general way, like just inviting them on, and they come on no problem. Like, in fact, I want to do a real call-in show. I was I was thinking about doing a real call-in show where I have it set up with the phone number and all that, and the way that to bring the audio in with the phone number call-in show, with Ben Radford and Kenny Biddle, and so that Bigfooters can talk to them and ask them questions or challenge them or whatever. I think that would be like extremely interesting, and nobody's doing anything like that. So. Yeah, man. You can, again, like, I'm sure you can find that episode with the information I gave you, but that wasn't even his full encounter. Like, that was just one of many that he had. Oh, and we got a taker. So let's see here. I'm gonna keep it. So how do I do this?
Hello. How's it going?
Hey, bud. Okay, so hold on. Wait, not you. Me. There. Okay. All right. Now that's what I was looking for. What's up? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you again. What you got, man? What you got?
Well, I'm just we had talked before about Florida, and you have this. You're one of the few people that I've talked to in the Bigfoot community that rejects the idea of anything being in Florida, and I wanted to explore that because the only person I've ever talked to one-on-one who gave me like an account, I was like, "That's so." It really does sound like you saw like a skunk ape or something, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't reject the idea that they could be in Florida. My thing is that they're 100% trapped there. There's no way out. So whatever population that could be in Florida is trapped there, and they have to deal with that. That's sort of my overall take on Bigfoot in Florida.
So it's kind of like the Florida Panthers then, right? Like they're isolated, would be an isolated population, which would make them genetically distinct, I guess, from populations in the rest of the country. Okay, so that's I mean, I don't ultimately I don't think that there's enough compelling evidence for him to be in Florida, but I know a lot of the Bigfoot community does. Florida is one of the hotbeds where they decide that there's or where people claim that there's a lot of sightings, right?
Yeah, and I will agree with you on that. So not to contradict myself, I don't think that there's a lot of compelling evidence. It's mostly anecdote, which is really, the totality of things in everything Bigfoot. But yeah, man, the Florida thing, like, I'm on the fence on, could there be a population of them there? Yes. also equally no.
So like, because the sightings in Florida, they're not exactly distinct just to Florida. Like Louisiana has similar type sightings up into Arkansas of creatures that seem more closer in the description to each other than they are to the traditional image of Bigfoot. More of a shaggy swamp monster kind of view on it. So
yeah,
would that
it's all like they're leaner, like you hear that language. They're not as big, and people always like to invoke Berkman's law, which is the sort of latitudinal things
the
get
further you get from
bigger
the
at the higher latitudes and stuff.
mm-hmm.
So to me that all gets very convoluted. That's a lot of hyper speculation, not based on any real observation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. So as far as the sightings of the I don't know what you call them, southeastern Sasquatch or whatever, were really prevalent like in the 19th century and stuff. I mean, that was the place where people saw hairy wild men, was in the swamps of the South and like the Appalachian Mountains and stuff. It's only been in the second half of the 20th century that they started to be more associated with the Pacific Northwest. But we see that we extirpated all the large animals out of the East Coast and the American South, about that same time. So wiping out all the animals and the wildlife, and it leaves room for I don't want to call them vagrants, but for people living off the land to feel a little more safer, snooping around. I think a lot of the stories are about people, like they're actually just people, like living off the grid, maybe coming in to steal supplies or something. People see, or at least that's in the early days. That's my hypothesis on the majority of them. At least the Appalachian style ones.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. You ever have you heard of this South Force 10 channel? The guy that talks about the Dennis Martin stuff and the wild man in the woods and all that.
Oh God, no. the Dennis Martin thing is ridiculous. That's fucking stupid to me, dude.
Yeah.
I've debunked that 1,000 times over. That is not a Bigfoot event. It's not even a wild man event. Like, that is smothered in false narrative. Big time.
Yeah.
Huge.
Really, David Politis leans really heavy on it in his missing 411 plugs.
Yes, and he leaves a lot of information out about that case.
Yeah, he leaves a lot of information about most cases out.
Yeah, most importantly, so it all comes, like, the whole Bigfoot narrative is one thing and one thing only, which is the Key family that was about 10 miles away, I think, roughly, as a crow flies, right? That saw what in the Bigfoot world is described as a hairy man with something over his shoulder. That never happened. Mr. Key saw a man who was panicked and got into a fucking car and drove away. That's what he saw. Like, that's the reality of that report, that situation. And so there is no wild man involved. There was never, no one ever witnessed a wild man or anything with over its shoulder. Mr. Key saw somebody who looked panicked and got into a car and drove away. He thought that might be relevant to the whole Dennis Martin
disappearance.
Being missing.
Yeah. So it's I mean, that's almost solely on David Politis that spun that narrative into this idea that there's a wild man involved. Yeah.
Yep.
He does that with, and I mean, he tangentially links all these disappearances just to, I mean, I'm not saying that if there is a Sasquatch, that maybe there are some disappearances, because I'm sure that some of these disappearances are attributed to some type of wildlife, right? But to spin it as he never outright says it. He always kind of like alludes to it being, a Bigfoot or wild men or what have you, hairy men that are involved. talks about the children coming back with tales of being taken care of by hairy people and things like that. Of course, that goes way back, right?
Yeah.
Stories of children who get out into the wilderness and find themselves at the mercy of the elements, only to be rescued by a hairy man of some kind. Yeah, I'm gonna use that term since you used it.
Yeah.
Well, it can get them through the storm or whatever. Yeah, because it just I think a Sasquatch, like the term Sasquatch, is mostly associated with the creatures that are seen in the Pacific Northwest, right? And then Bigfoot's even more specific to Northern California, I guess. So,
yeah, people are seeing this pretty much the same exact thing in the Appalachians. Again,
as I say,
like, yeah.
You think it's the same type of creature that they're seeing in Appalachia that they're seeing in the Pacific Northwest?
Pretty much. I mean, yes, large, 7 to 8 feet tall, 4 foot wide shoulders, like very big, hairy, no clothes, human features in the face, sorta, kinda, hooded nose. Yeah. Like from 20 feet away or 50 feet away. Yeah, so like that absolutely happens. A ton of road crossings, yeah, things like that.
What kind of range do you accept? I mean, like, is there presence in the Midwest too, or like I would say like the
No,
Ohio grassland?
no, I'd say no. Like, so flatlands, absolutely not. The ranges I accept are ranges that they can dip into very remote areas. So I'm comfortable with the fact that they get close to people sometimes, but only if they can actually dip into a remote area, if there's an avenue there. And that's something I've been sort of harping on and talking about lately, you know. I mean, I put out a video saying they can't be in the LBL, you know, because they be trapped there. There's no way way in or out. Like, there's too much society that surrounds that natural preserve, you know.
Yeah, well, like there's in the middle of this, we go between the Appalachians and the Rockies. I mean, there's the Great Plains, right? This huge, vast flatland. I mean, I guess there's some rivers that cross it that provide some forest cover along the river. But
North,
generally,
south,
it's
right?
all processed now.
Yeah.
It's all the land's been cultivated. So you'd be talking about like isolated populations. You know, they may be unique genetically from one another if there was a species involved here, because they wouldn't be able to interbreed across that divide. They wouldn't be able to pass genes.
They would never be able to get from the Appalachian Mountains to the Sierra Nevada Mountains or the Rockies or anything like that. Like, no, there's no path for them, East Coast to West Coast kind of thing. There's zero path for them to get there.
They could probably get from like Georgia to Texas in the lowlands.
No way, absolutely not. It's
a
giant Piedmont. Yeah.
Giant what?
It's a giant Piedmont of just flat nothingness, believe it or not, between Georgia and Texas. I've made that drive many, many times in my life. It's just flat and wide open.
I guess it depends on how far away from the coast you get. I was thinking more through the marshlands and stuff down along the coastal regions.
It doesn't matter.
But I mean,
you can draw a line from Mississippi to Chicago, and it's just nothing but flat lands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Going north there. Yeah.
So,
I'm in Illinois.
So they would have to cross literally like 500 miles or more of flatlands. So there's no connection. The Appalachian Mountains don't connect to Texas. That's my point. But the Appalachian Mountains do connect to northern Canada.
So you think they require mountains, that the lowlands are not I'm not talking about flatlands. I'm talking about like marshlands and wetlands.
The vast majority of places that they're seeing are with some kind of vertical terrain and high rainfall, plenty of water, and dense forest, at least some part of the year. That's where they're seen. Nobody sees them strolling through the middle of Kansas. That's not a thing.
Yeah, I was talking about again talking about the swamps though. People see them in swamps.
True, and I could buy into that to some degree because there's a lot of cover, and maybe. But again, my point is that they're fucking trapped there. They have no way to connect to the highlands.
Even if there was once upon a time, we've rerouted all the waterways and made it probably damn near impossible to cross, to stay in wetlands and cross the entire Southeast anymore. I'm sure not long ago that you could do that, but not anymore.
Yeah. So if they're in the Okefenokee Swamp, which is in southern Georgia, which is a huge, just like forget about it kind of place that they could be, there's no way that they could make it from the Okefenokee Swamp in southern Georgia to the Appalachian chain, because there's this thing called the Greater Atlanta area where 5 million people live, and 4 interstates. Forget about it.
Yeah, interstates are probably a big impedance on any kind of travel. Well, I mean, we know for a fact that wildlife doesn't handle that well, and it impedes migrational patterns. And I think you got somebody in the side chat here disagreeing with you about Ohio. You wanna?
I never said anything about Ohio.
Oh, I dropped the name Ohio Grassman when I was talking about the Midwest.
Well, I mean, Ohio's in the east. To me, that's not Midwest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at a map of the Midwest, that includes Ohio, Indiana, Illinois.
Yeah, but all the Bigfoot stuff comes from eastern Ohio, which is certainly in the east. Which
it's like by the Appalachia.
The Appalachians run through there. The Blue Ridge area runs through there.
Yeah, is that where Grassman sightings are from?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what a Grassman is. It's that's just what nomenclature for Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, it's like their local dialect for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every little town who has their sighting, sometime they give it a unique name. My little town that I came from had Momo, the Missouri Monster. It was one of the swampy ones, the smaller ones that they are stinky and live in the swamps. Well, I guess they're all stinky though, right?
Evidently. But yeah, I mean, I have no problem with eastern Ohio, eastern or southern Ohio. I would have to look at a fucking map.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time in Ohio. I get that there's areas that they could be in. That's fine. Again, for me, it's all about a dip out. Where can they dip to? So yeah, they can get close to people, but where can they dip out and get lost, kind of thing?
Looking for they have to have a retreat to get away from humans, huh?
Exactly.
To be able to avoid contact. There's nothing like that here in the Midwest.
Which is why there's zero reports of Bigfoot strolling through downtown Chicago. That's not a thing,
Yeah.
People don't see them in downtown Chicago. There has to be a reason for that.
Yeah. Maybe they're still not into the city scene. They like to keep it in the country, like good old boys.
Yeah, man. They're home Trump, man. Oh, fuck that Biden guy, man. Trump.
Now you gotta say, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, man. See, that's how they are. They're rural boys.
Yeah, I live there freaking trans woman living there. It's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I say all that in jest, of course.
Yeah.
YouTube,
No, it's the Midwest has its distinct flavor of people, but they see Bigfoot around here. I mean, even though we're out here in is basically flatlands, people still say we saw Bigfoot. Usually it's areas where I think they're seeing black bear, but
yeah. See, I don't get that. See, I'm on board with you with the whole. I'm very serious about. Well, people shouldn't be seeing Bigfoot in these types of areas.
right.
So that makes me go, all right, they're, misidentification or like even just people lying, right? For whatever reason.
Yeah.
They lie about it, they misidentify. So that's a thing. That is a thing, because you shouldn't be seeing Bigfoot in certain types of areas. Like you shouldn't be seeing Bigfoot in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, right? Like, so what is that? If somebody says they saw that, then, well, it ain't an undiscovered hominin. I can tell you that. You're either nuts or there's something magical going on that we can't wrap our heads around, And so I kind of apply that to areas where they just shouldn't be. And
well, there's the interdimensional
I am a skeptic. So I'm a true skeptic. And so I honestly look at those things like, no, they don't just go like strolling around like the middle of Kansas. There's nothing but green grass and fucking cows. That's it. You might not see a tree for 15 miles.
That ecological requirements is your point, I guess. Yeah. That they need the proper type of environment and food resources and ability to retreat. Now, or do you think that's a modern thing with the Bigfoots, or do you think, or with the hairy men, or do you think it's they've always been that way, or do you think it's more like as humans, expand?
So I look at it like this way, like an undiscovered hominid could have gotten away with a lot more 150 years ago, as opposed to today in North America. But as we, modern humans have created the modern world and are kind of established on every single fucking continent, including Antarctica in the world, unlike all other primates, this thing is screwed. Like, this thing's screwed, man. And to me, it's just a matter of time. If there's, I'll say this, like, honestly, Bumblebee, it's just a matter of time. If there's an undiscovered hominin roaming around North America that we are currently unaware of as a species, it is a matter of time before it gets actually discovered.
One
way or another.
Something that large, it's only. I'm surprised with all that. Like you mentioned, the highways, especially like you're talking about around Atlanta, but about any metropolis area. Nashville comes to mind. That they'd have to cross. Even like, and that's, you're talking about the Appalachian Mountains. That Nashville's like a big strip of highways, like 4-lane highways, stretching pretty much all the way across the mountain range, right? Just from heading from east to west. I've traveled that many a times. Beautiful country, but I don't imagine it's very accessible for wildlife to cross. Sometimes they build greenways over the highways or underneath them, but I don't know if. Because greenways are where people put like trail cams and stuff, where they're wanting to capture animals crossing.
Those are monitored.
Yeah. So if something was, if Bigfoot was using those, right? And I'll close on this thought. But if because I want to go eat some dinner. But if Bigfoot was using those greenways, right? That's a definitive way that we would be able to track it. If it wasn't using them, we'd expect some kind of roadkill. I mean, even some of the rarest species, even species we don't know that are in an area, like they'll hit a mountain lion in Illinois or something and be like, oh, we didn't even know mountain lions were here, but they got hit on the highway. You think eventually, inevitably, accidents are bound to happen, right? But we just don't we don't find it, or somebody's literally covering it up. I mean, someone actively. Why would? I guess that's a good question too. Why would anybody want to cover up the existence of hairy hominids?
I can't think of a good reason.
Yeah,
like science for sure not. Like they would jump all over that.
Yeah, because we could give them protection if we could prove they existed, right? Offer them protection for scientific research.
No, sure. Science is all about like understanding the world you live in better, so like, I mean, they would jump all over that. The government, I don't get that, like,
yeah,
like that gets real convoluted real quick because the government's a big giant thing, so
it's something like that's would be hard to keep wraps on, right? Something. But they said the same thing about like UFOs and all that. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go have some dinner, but it's been nice chatting with you, Pat.
Yeah, good talking to you again, man, and thanks for being here.
Yeah,
and I'll see you in the future. Show. I'm sure our paths will cross again.
Yep. All right, you take care.
All right, you too, bud. All right, later. All right. Good talk. Interesting stuff, man. A lot to it. Chat's going nuts. You guys are going nuts. Love it. Love it. So what do you got to say? Somebody else jump in. Pick up where we left off, or you can bring up something new. Or I could bring Petey in. Like whatever, like I'm wide open, man. I have not been doing shows lately, so I'm just kind of like going, hey, yeah. Coincidence, by the way, Mike. Kawinky Dinky. Like earlier this morning, this was the shirt I picked to wear today. What's up, C. Blanton? Jump on in, man. Come on, let's talk. Like, now's the time, man. Again, slap me around. Slap the Pat. Come on, slap me around. If you disagree, that's fine. I'm willing to have that discussion. Is Mikey's here? Like, Mike, where you at? Come on, jump in, man. I'll just throw you on. I'll just throw you on the show like normal. Hold on. Okay, I will address this. Hi, Pat. I'm tuning in a little late, so I'm not sure if this has been addressed yet. Could you comment on the recent passing of Scott Carpenter? He seemed like a decent guy. Was he legit? Yes, he was a decent guy. No, he was not legit. Not with the Bigfoot world. I'm sure he was legit as a father. I'm sure he was legit as a friend. He was legit as just a good dude in the world, but anything having to do with Bigfoot, no, absolutely not. And I don't believe that he was a hoaxer in that way. So when I say legit, like when I address the legit part that you brought up, So I'll just keep showing it. I don't think Scott was a hoaxer. I think he was just Christopher Noel delusional, issues with the Bigfoot subject. So yeah, he was a good dude. I was friends with him on Facebook. And we almost never agreed. He never banned me. He never unfriended me. But I would always challenge his Bigfoot stuff, and he never fought back against it or banned me or anything like that. I think he was a good guy, but he was not a legit Bigfoot guy. So those are my thoughts, and I feel for his family for sure. It sucks. So anyway, those are my honest thoughts about Scott. God bless his soul, man. He was a good dude. Like, I got that much from him. He was definitely a good guy. I don't think he was ever purposely being deceptive. He really believed what he believed about the Bigfoot subject. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. So what you got? Somebody, come on. Let's get at least one more caller in. Like, come on, Mike. You can jump in here. I don't know. I think C. Blanton said it ain't going to happen, but we'll see. But somebody, man. I need somebody to bounce off of with this subject, because I'm tired of lately I've been just Pete, bad boy. Unless there's a Bigfoot outside. No, Pete. Come on, bud. Hush. You see how that went south so fast. Petey, do you want to talk to the people or not? All right, here we go. Mike, you're in the stream.
Yo, what up, Pat?
What's up?
Hey, how you been?
I'm just gonna fully let you into the stream.
Yeah.
Like, you can turn your camera on if you want. It doesn't matter. You can leave it off. I don't care.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me just set him up here.
No, leave it off. No.
I don't got my face on, so I don't want to.
Nah, it doesn't matter, dude. I was just messing with you. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, not too bad. Just got home from work a little while before. So you're alive. I figured I'd pop in.
Cool. Well, what you got? What you got? What you got for me?
Not a whole lot. Want to talk about those thermal drones?
Sure. Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So, I don't know. One of the things I'd recently got into a conversation with someone about them. They were going on about one of their concerns was, two of the biggest things they're worried about. Number one, the duration of flight time. Number two, they figured, I think this is something you've probably been covered before. Number two, they figured, animals animals could probably hear them, the whirring and stuff like that. So they think those two things there might, while in theory, the whole concept is great about, how much headway it can make in finding potential Bigfoot evidence and stuff like that. Some people are concerned that those two things there could probably wind up working against the whole thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
That is complete ignorance on their part. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're just kind of imagining something that they don't actually understand. So drones actually aren't that loud. By the time you hear them, they're on top of you and they can see you. So that's not a problem. The noise is not a factor at all. And I could show you plenty of footage of drones hovering, 50, 70 feet above deer, and the deer are just laying there like kind of aware that they hear something, but they don't care. And it wouldn't matter anyway, because if the deer decided to run, drones go about 40, 50 miles an hour through the air unimpeded. No trees, no nothing, just through the air. Airspace. Yeah. There's nothing in this world that can outrun a drone through the trees. Nothing. Not one animal. Not the fastest animal on the world through a tree line with a drone above it. There's no animal that can outrun a advanced drone.
Yeah, for sure. And
never will happen.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I definitely think that, technology is going to potentially make some, really, really big headway.
And what was the second concern?
Just the flight time,
I mean, yeah, so drones, it depends on the drone. Some drones have half an hour flight time. Some drones have an hour and a half flight time because they have 2 batteries on them. I don't know. I'll say this to that. I can cover a 10 square mile area in 2 hours that would take you 2 weeks to walk through. So how's that for flight time?
Yeah, no,
how's that for flight time? I mean, I can cover that same area, the entire fucking 10 square mile area that would take you or a Navy SEAL, a Navy fucking SEAL, 2 weeks to cover that area on boots on the ground. I can observe that area in 2 hours. So flight time destroys boots on the ground. It doesn't matter if I have to switch out batteries. Doesn't matter if I have to bring the drone back, switch it out, put it back out. Or I got a drone that is advanced enough. It's got 2 batteries, so it's got a longer flight time. Flight time is not a factor at all when it compares to people marching around through the woods looking for Bigfoot. The drone outclasses them times 1,000.
Yeah, and I actually kind of experienced that firsthand. I'm investigating this area in southern Vermont right now. Earlier this month, I met up with this one researcher who took me to this one spot out there that he frequents, and this guy was really hardcore. He took me, we were going 1-2 miles off trail, walking through knee deep water and swamps and marshes and stuff like that. And it took us probably an hour or two just to get half a mile into that shit. So you bring up the whole drone thing, it really definitely puts that into perspective. So I'm with you on that, 100%. Want to hear the crazy thing though? If you fly one of those drones like a national forest or something like that, and you take that footage and you use it, you put it on your YouTube channel or something like that, if you don't have the proper permits or whatever, the federal government could consider that footage you flying that drone as you running your you operating your business or running your business on federal land, and they'll bang you with a bunch of fines. That researcher I was with, he told me there was I don't know if they were Bigfoot related or not, but these people, this one channel, they took a bunch of drone footage in this national forest, and the federal government, they got banged with I think it was either it came out to a 6-figure sum. I'm not sure if it was a few $100,000 fines or vice versa or something like that. But
I doubt that from the FAA. So, the body that controls the airspace, the national airspace, is the FAA. That's it. And so while you could get fined potentially for flying in areas where you're not allowed to fly class areas, so that's class A, B, C, D, E, G, basically. That potential is there, but no one's policing it. So you can the truth is, dude, you can go fly in a national forest all you want. The only way you get caught doing that is if a ranger or, park ranger or even a sheriff. So for that county, says, hey, you're not supposed to be flying here, blah, blah, blah. And that gets a little convoluted because, again, the national airspace, the entire national airspace, including 20 feet above your roof of your house, is controlled by one authority, the FAA. That's it. Okay. And you could argue the military to some degree, but that only comes into areas where the military has very strict airspace issues, like whatever you could say, Area 51 or any kind of airspace over like Air Force bases, things like that. So that's a little different, but the FAA controls the entire national airspace over national forests all the way to 20 feet above your roof. Okay. And so that argument gets convoluted. A lot of that's being sorted out in the courts right now.
Okay.
So
I figured you
at the end of the day, I'll tell you this. There's no one policing it. There's no one policing it. I've flown in national forests. I've taken beautiful videos, man, of our national forest for art, and B-roll, things like that, right? Nobody's called me up. Georgia, nobody's called me up and said, "Oh, you can't do that. You got a $10,000 fine." Like, fuck you. Yeah. Like, it's not even my footage. How are you going to prove it? You know what I mean? Were you there to see me capture? Like, it wasn't me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So airspace issues, while they actually can be a thing, they're really not much of a thing with drones. Not yet. Not until geofencing or remote ID. So when remote ID and geofencing, like if that's ever becomes a huge issue, which is all internal proprietary stuff with the drone kind of squawking its position, and things like that, like a real aircraft, the more that's integrated, and some systems use it, some systems don't. That's another thing. It's like with DJI, you might get that. With Autel, you don't have it. And dude, there's 1,000 Steve Wozniaks that could build any drone you want across the nation. There are guys you can call up on the phone and say, build me a drone that has a flamethrower on it so I can take out hornets' nests. And they can literally just build it. And there's no connection at all to any outside squawking. Like, it's unknown aircraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kind of like if it's uncategorized, if it's unclassified in that regard, it doesn't have any rules it's got to abide by.
Right now, it's the Wild West. I don't know how long that's going to last, honestly.
Yeah.
But right now, it is the fucking Wild West when it comes to drones, man. So I don't pay attention to airspace too much. I mean, I don't fly near airports because that's irresponsible. I don't want to have a collision with another aircraft. If I see a helicopter coming, I'll lower my altitude and yield to it. I've had those incidences happen, so I'm an aircraft in the space. I have to be aware of that. And the last thing I want is F-16 screaming through the valley and sucking my drone up into its intake and having a flame out, and a pilot ejection. I'm on the fucking news. Like, yeah, fuck that, right?
Hope people wearing that shirt if that happens for your advertising.
Yeah. It has happened. Like, drones have hit military aircraft. Like, that's a thing. Not to the level I just described, but it has happened.
Yeah.
One hit a helicopter once, I think, and
plane too.
Yeah.
A plane too, I think, once or twice got hit, right?
Yeah, and without catastrophic results. Thank God. Yeah.
I kind of get it though. It's like the principle, the fact that that's able to happen, could have been worse. So
Yeah, and like I said, I've actually had I've had aircraft come in my area where I'm flying, and I had to yield to them out of overabundance of caution.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like so that's there you go. That's the cut of my jib when it comes to drone issues. Everything you asked me about.
Yeah.
And
And then do you follow, like, do you keep tabs on like the whole? I think it's called Project Overwatch. I think that's the thing.
who is that? What are they doing? I don't know.
So I think honestly, Brendan would definitely be the one who would know more about it. They're basically like this. They're basically like this group. I think they're up in like Ontario or something like that, and I think they're trying to get like crowdfunding to get a couple of like thermal drones.
Yeah, are those the guys that are like trying to get a thermal drone to like share amongst themselves in different areas or something? Maybe. I don't
Something like that. I don't really know too much about it beyond the name, where they're probably located, and what they're probably trying to do. That, and I know was what's his name, Matt Moneymaker of the BFRO indoors was pretty enthusiastic about it. So
I talked to Matt personally about drones, and the second he said drone squatching, he lost me. He's trying to like do this like entertainment flip coin it as drone squatching, and I'm like, dude, never mind. I know what I'm doing. You have no fucking clue, dude. And I talked to his guy, like his guy that's in the BFRO who flies the thermal drone, and we had a conversation, and I, at the end of the day, it just went nowhere, And so I'm like, okay, this isn't being taken seriously enough. Nobody's really doing it. People are talking about it. People are trying it. It is finally starting to like creep in, But if you're a boots on the ground researcher and you just wake up one day and decide you want to fly a thermal drone, like you're gonna struggle. Like you're gonna struggle. Number one, because you don't know what you're doing with the drone, and number two, your head is not in the right place. Your boots on the ground, and you can't shake that boots on the ground thing. So you're not going to use the tool the way it's supposed to be used, which has nothing to do with boots on the ground. There's no pairing it up with people on the ground. Oh, we're going to go find the Bigfoot and then look at it and then send the team in 3 miles over here through this kind of terrain. Like, that's not realistic. You just observe it and film it. Forget there's no boots on the ground team to assist you. That's not how it works. If you're going to maximize the potential of the drone, you're going to be flying it so far away. If you get a hit and you observe it, that's all you're doing. You're just observing it. You're filming it. You're sitting on top of it for 20 minutes. You're coming up with this, like you're blowing the PG film out of the water. Yeah. Like this is money on the table. This is like worth a lot of money, to be honest with you. It really is. Not that that's my motivation. I'm just saying it is what it is, man.
Yeah, like it's like an example of how much potential that technology has to make that that degree of headway in this field in terms of potential,
and even more than that. What I'm about to drop on everybody pretty soon, I'll just go ahead and say it now, is when you combine AI, which can spot something from fucking 4 miles away in the heads up display that you can't even see, that matches the human form, and it could even be autonomous. You could have a swarm of drones, AI drones, like where there is no pilot. You simply program these things to go explore this 10 mile 10 square mile area, 15 square mile area, and whatever they hit on, they swarm onto it and film it, and like, forget it. We're there now. That technology exists right now. It is not protected. It is real technology that can be used actually right now. And it's game over.
Yeah.
It's game over, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things about it is just they're just so damn expensive. Like the cheapest thermal drones, the industrial thermal drones I could find were like $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 or something like that. Like, let's be real. Most people who are doing this Bigfoot research stuff, they're just most of them just your everyday average Joe type people. They can't afford to be shelling out that kind of money. It's kind of like when thermal binoculars first came around. Like, they were scarce.
Yeah, but people bought them.
They did.
Bigfooters fucking bought them, dude. You know why? Because they're like, holy shit, I've got this white hot technology that's going to outline things out there in the woods, man. Same thing. Dude, people will.
Yeah.
This technology is money on the table. So you invest 10 grand or 20 grand, maybe even more if you want to swarm.
Definitely.
You could make fucking $10 million off an actual hit, an actual fucking observation. It's money on the table. People are going to do it. I have already instituted my 2-year plan to be ready in 2 years to launch a serious effort using thermal drones to find Bigfoot. There's already a fucking business, dude, that will come to people's property and look around their property with a advanced thermal drone.
Oh, wow.
To see if they're actually there or not. There's already a business in the Bigfoot world, man, called Appalachian Aerial Discoveries that will actually fucking go to the property and search the area looking for Bigfoot. If you think they're there. Like, so this is already happening in a business model.
Yeah. Never even heard of them before. That's the first time I ever even heard of that organization before. Do you know where they're based out of?
Appalachia?
No, Appalachia's pretty vast.
The Southeast.
Gotcha.
So I mean, my point is, it's already happening. It's money on the table. Footage that's 1,000 times better than the PG film is going to be worth money, but it's also going to bridge that gap between science, like otherwise kind of like standoff science, because all we have is anecdote and trace evidence.
Yep.
Once you get actual observations, science will get interested real fast because it will be easy to see that's conclusive. I mean, like in other words, it'll be easy to vet it as, is this real footage or not a hoax?
Well, did you ever see when they used thermal drone on the Finding Bigfoot episode? I think they were somewhere up north. They're in I think they were in Minnesota or somewhere like that, and they got two hits of like
Goofy.
Goofy.
It's goofy.
Oh,
I mean,
Goofy.
yeah, it's goofy as fuck, dude. It's stupid as hell. The kind of technology I'm talking about, dude, you will be able to see. I mean, I just don't have any other way to put it other than imagine the Patterson-Gimlin film like 1,000 times more powerful than that. It will be like this fucking thing. It's not wearing clothes. It's not a guy in a suit. It will be so obvious. It'll be 50 to 100 feet away. And you could even go, I can go further with, if it's even more advanced drone, these drones have spotlights on them and pretty powerful ones. So they can acquire, it doesn't even have to be about the thermal imaging. You have that, you got it, you're watching it with thermal, and then boom, you hit it with the spotlight. They got spotlights on top of the drones. Hit it with the spotlight, HD, 4K, boom. Now you got it lit up in spotlight too. Like, it's unfucking deniable how powerful that will be. All it takes is the first person to get on top of one with that technology. And almost no one in the Bigfoot world is even attempting that. And they're surely not attempting it with the kind of the most powerful technology available that I'm talking about, which is actually in our hands right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping one of my options contracts kills in the next couple of weeks. One of the first things when I cash that out, one of the first things I'll probably go towards is the thermal drone fund. So
that's where it's at, Mike.
Yeah. Well, did you see what they're doing? It's starting this week, actually, August 26th and 27th, in Loch Ness. They're having like the largest organized surveillance expedition, and one of the technologies that they're using are they describe it as infrared drones to look, I guess, for like shapes in the water and stuff like that. So like one of the things I thought of was if
LiDAR, probably LiDAR.
But with those drones though, like if that expedition and those drones cause it, if that expedition is like successful in any way, especially if it produces any type of unique, compelling, dare I say, indisputable evidence, I think in that regard, it'll open a ton of doors for other research, for other researchers in the cryptid high strangeness field, like namely Squatches. I definitely think these drone companies or people have access to that technology. If this goes well, it'll probably make them more open to maybe lending, donating, maybe even sponsoring future expeditions and stuff like that. So I definitely think this whole Loch Ness thing and how drones are using it is definitely something we should be keeping our eye on for reasons like that.
Yeah, I mean, so if they're using LiDAR, which is a sort of a topo thing, it just captures a moment in time. It's not real time, and so I'm not big into any kind of LiDAR, being used to find a Bigfoot. It's a snapshot in time. It's not a real time observation. It's not a get on top of them, observe them, and film them kind of thing, which is the power of the drone when it comes to Bigfoot, is getting on top of them and filming them.
And the stuff I would describe them as, drones equipped with infrared technology. So automatically my mind goes to night vision, thermal and stuff like that. So
Pete,
that's what I meant by that. See, he agrees.
Well, if they're using drones above the Pete, come on, man, bud. They're using drones above the water, then it sounds to me they're using LiDAR to penetrate the water and get a topo view of the underneath. And to be honest, Loch Ness has been sonared to death. There was a huge sonar, like from top to bottom, right? Yeah. So that's kind of been done, and then
there's that DNA test too in 2000.
And then the DNA thing with the giant eels, and that combined with sturgeon, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's
the thing.
Mystery solved.
They found no traces. They didn't find any traces of sturgeon. They found no traces of sturgeon, no traces of catfish.
I thought sturgeon were in Loch Ness. That is my understanding. Like, I don't know. Maybe not. And even if not, they came up with this interesting eel thing, which is like, to me, I'm like, okay, mystery solved. Like, I get the rogue wake. The rogue wake, dude. I live on Lake Lanier, and I see rogue wakes all the time, and they look like serpent swims. Yeah. That's exactly what it looks like. If you're at the right angle, you're standing at the right angle on shore, your eye level, there's no boat in sight, but it's a wake from a boat from whatever 5 minutes ago, right? And dude, it looks just like a damn serpent doing this. It's exactly what it looks like. So to me, I'm like, Loch Ness is not a plesiosaur or whatever. Like that's not a thing. It's so silly and stupid compared to Bigfoot to me. It just is. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying I believe in it or anything like that. But like I'm saying, like if this expedition winds up coming up with anything that happens to prove otherwise, I think that could be huge for what you hope winds up getting done, on the Bigfoot front with this technology, is what I was trying to say.
I hear you. I get it. So okay, they're just gonna throw a rock at it. Bye drone. Okay. Like number one, then I just captured that on video.
Yeah.
Because I can also record it. You're also recording on your heads up display, your remote. So if they throw a rock and destroy the drone, I just recorded that on video. And number two, I doubt it. I doubt they're that accurate with rocks. I don't think that Bigfoot, even as an undiscovered hominin, has the same accuracy as I don't know, Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson. Humans fucking throw things with great accuracy. There's no evidence that Bigfoot does. In fact, the evidence points to, I had a rock land near me. It's never, it hit me square in the forehead, right? So no, I have no faith Bigfoot could throw a rock at a drone and knock it out of the air any more than they could shoot laser beams out of their eyes. Again, it would all be captured on video if they did. So
if it does, though, that would be probably not only would that blow the Patterson-Gimlin film out of the water, that would probably just be on principle, like one of the top 5 greatest pieces of footage in mankind's history, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have you ever seen videos of like gorillas throwing stuff? Like you could tell, like they got a lot of like oomph to their throw, and for throwing.
Yeah, there's no accuracy though.
No, of course not.
Yeah, they'll pick something up and kind of sling it in a general direction. That's it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
compare that to Randy Johnson throwing a fucking fastball. Like he killed that bird, man. He killed that bird, dude. Randy Johnson fucking killed a goddamn bird throwing a fucking I don't even know it was a fastball. It might have been a curveball, dude. Right?
How long ago was that? That was almost like 20 years ago.
That was like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was in high school.
20 years. It was like 20 years ago, dude. Maybe longer. Amazing. What a weird, amazing coincidence, that a bird flies right into his pitch, and it exploded, dude. Feathers everywhere, and bird just goes.
That was something.
Yeah, so a Bigfoot could fucking do that? Hell no. I say no.
Well, on the throwing front, though, I've seen a little bit of Discord about this. Do you think this is a pretty trivial question. Do you think they throw overhand like we do, or underhand like gorillas and stuff like that, like gorillas and whatnot?
I don't know. I could see him doing like a sidearm kind of thing. Again, no accuracy whatsoever. But what do I know? I don't research Bigfoot out in the field. I'm not that guy. But I would imagine that, from what I understand about human beings, modern humans, us, we are so accurate, and there's no other primate that even comes close to the accuracy of using their arm to throw something, that I would kind of have to throw Bigfoot into the category of like not modern human. So not good at all throwing shit. Which again, from the anecdotes, doesn't seem they're very good from throwing stuff, because it always just kind of lands somewhere in camp, not like doesn't hit them in the kneecap,
Yeah, it's funny you brought that. It's funny you brought that up too. Like I've heard my fair share of stories. Spoken to spoken to a good amount of witnesses who described getting like rocks and stuff like that thrown at them, and not once have I ever come across someone who said they or someone they saw has gotten hit by something before. Never heard that before.
There you go. Yeah. And that's kind of my point about them throwing shit. If we're gonna go off the anecdote, which is all you have to go off of, right? Yeah. Doesn't seem like their aim's very well. It's a general direction kind of thing,
Yep.
I
don't know. A lot of the times, these people don't even seem to like. They only seem to get like the shit thrown at them. They don't even a lot of the times they don't even see the thing that's doing the throwing. So if they're doing it from like really far away, then wow, you're strong as fuck.
Sure. Strength doesn't mean accuracy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it happened my birthday, the Randy Johnson thing.
Really?
Yeah, March 24th, 2001.
Well, happy birthday. Now you got a dead seagull.
Yep.
Or whatever the hell it was. Was it a seagull? Like he's saying specifically it was a seagull.
I thought it was a pigeon.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that too, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. It was
all I know is that it exploded in feathers, man. It was just like, oh man, really?
What team was he on? Do you remember what team he was on when that happened?
I guess maybe he must have been pitching for Seattle when that happened.
Seattle, okay.
Yeah, and not the Diamondbacks. In my head, he was a Diamondback pitcher. So what did he say? 2000
March 24th, 2001. Yeah.
Man, I can't remember. I was pretty sure I was drunk that year.
I was in fifth grade that year.
You were drunk too. Okay, so he did pitch for Arizona. Okay, all of a sudden this is a sports show, and I know I could talk sports with you. Hey, let's talk hockey. I know you want to talk hockey, right, Mike?
Right up my alley.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. It's funny. Like for the this week Bigfoot, I actually did like a sports related segment. One of the parts of it was touching on athletes who publicly express their belief in Bigfoot. Yeah. And literally, like there were a good amount. The vast majority I came across though were baseball players.
I saw that segment, and that's kind of interesting.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if maybe that's just a coincidence or there was something to that, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting angle. Like you did some real research into it, and I respect that.
Yeah.
So what else? What else you got, Mike? What you got for me?
Man, gotta think now. You got me on the spot. On the spot here. Is there anything new on the DNA front lately?
Well, just the Darby Orcutt thing, obviously, and so that's kind of happening, right? That's happening. That's gonna happen. So we won't really hear anything about that for probably a little while, I would guess. I don't know, Petey. Did you get a sample, Pete? Well, Petey has something to say about it, Mike.
Let's see.
Hey, Petey, you want to talk to Mike? You want
got our dog man. Got our dog man sighting.
Hey, buddy. So, hold on. Let me make sure we get the framing right. So, you want to ask? You wanted to ask me about DNA?
Yeah, what do you know about it?
Well, so I've got to get a Bigfoot sample. I got to buy definitely gonna buy a Bigfoot. Get Bigfoot sample for Dobby Orcutt, and I'm gonna say you have to check for unknown primate. Is what I'm gonna say. So I'm definitely that's the plan is to bite a Bigfoot and get that sample.
Well, there's a problem there though. What if the sample gets mixed with your saliva? Then people are gonna think there's like some Bigfoot dogman hybrid.
It might be Dogman.
Yeah.
But Dogman's my natural enemy. And so I kill a Dogman, but I bite a Bigfoot. What do you think about that?
Why are you going to kill a Dogman and bite a Bigfoot? What do you got against the Dogman?
I hate Dogman. It's my natural enemy.
But it's like half you though.
No, but it's an abomination, man. Or it might be a kangaroo, we think, maybe, but so I kill Dogman, but I bite Bigfoot for sample for Dobby Orcutt.
I'm sure your efforts won't go unappreciated.
No, man. I mean, I gonna do it. We practice. We done a lot of practice with the Bigfoot statue. I'm pretty good at it. Yeah. So it's for DNA, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
keep on. You keep me posting. You keep me posting on that.
I'm gonna do updates, and I'll let you know, Mike. Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, likewise. I bet you briefly before. You probably don't remember.
What?
On the show?
What? Huh?
I bet you before.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, I gotta go. I'm getting squirmy.
Yeah.
I'm getting squirmy. I gotta go see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, do your thing. No, you just missed Pete, man. Where were you?
All right, man. I mean, hey, no, like I was just letting him talk, Obviously, I had to, hold him up. That's it. That's all I had to do, right?
How old is he? What kind of breed is that?
He's a muddy, disheveled terrier or something breed. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we have. We have like a terrier Chihuahua mix.
I think he's got some Chihuahua in him. He's special. He's very special. That's all I know. So, and he wants, he has no problem biting Bigfoot. He hates Dogman. He wants to kill Dogman. And so that's kind of his deal right now.
Gotcha.
So,
is that a thing in Georgia at all? The Dogman, or is it just?
It's not a thing anywhere.
I mean, just in terms of.
It's definitely not in Georgia.
Just in terms of people saying
we might have a couple of kangaroos bouncing around Georgia that for whatever reason are bouncing around Georgia, but no, Dogman is not a thing in Georgia, and I'll just leave it at that because that's kind of my deal with the whole thing. PD hates him, so
yep. That right there just sets that right there just draws the line.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. I'll say this about Dogman. What armed person in their right mind would not fucking murder a goddamn Dogman if they saw one? If you got a shotgun, a rifle, a 308, a fucking 5.56, even 223, whatever the hell you're marching around in the woods with, if you saw that thing, you would fucking blow it away. A human being would just simply raise the fucking reticle and fucking start shooting. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot, a little different, because whatever, human features, human form, you're not sure what you're looking at. If you see a fucking werewolf in the woods, you know what you're looking at because you've been primed your whole life through entertainment to know what a goddamn werewolf is and looks like. And I'm sorry, anybody with a fucking high power, even a low power or like medium power gun, like a 223, whatever, a Mini 14, would just start fucking throwing rounds at this thing.
Yeah.
And that's what tells me they're not real. Because they would have been fucking murdered by our species a long time ago. Unless there's some kind of ghostly demonic thing, like, so that caveat's always there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you shoot your rounds and nothing happens because they're ghostly, and then at that point, I guess, well, then I don't have to worry about them because you can't. If I can't touch them, they can't touch me, right? You know. Yeah. So that's what I think about Dogman. Somebody would have surely fucking put one down by now.
Unless our previous generations, already hunted them to extinction.
Which sounds like they should be. Like, I don't want to live next door to a fucking werewolf.
Oh, hell no.
No, as a member of the human species, you're out of here.
Yeah.
You're done. Like the short-faced bear. Nope. No thanks. T-Rex. If a T-Rex shows up in my yard, I'm like, C4. Fucking, you're out of here, dude. I don't want you here. You know.
I forget what it was. It was one of those cryptid paranormal websites. A couple of months ago, like, I saw this. That was it for the internet for me that day. Supposedly, someone had a Tyrannosaurus Rex sighting and
Yes. Right.
Texas or something. And like, I saw the picture. You know what it reminded me of? Remember Toy Story, the T-Rex in Toy Story?
Yeah.
Green guy. That's exactly what it reminded me of. So
pretty absurd.
Yeah,
like most everything with all these subjects. To be honest with you, there's too much absurdity, not enough objectivity.
I mean, it's always, it always makes for good, it always makes for interesting conversation. It's always fun to poke fun at it and stuff like that. But yeah, 100% with you on that.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks for coming on, dude. I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you being here, man. It was an interesting show. It turned out to be an interesting call-in show. And I'll take it. Because good discussions were had, and that's what we're all about here, man. So
absolutely, yeah. Appreciate you putting up with me for the last half hour. So thanks for having me.
I'm always glad to talk to you, bro.
Yeah,
and your cohorts, bring them in anytime.
Definitely.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll talk to you later, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was nice catching up. We'll talk soon.
All right, bud. See you.
Take it easy.
All right. Cool. All right. Success. Good show. I like it. Probably won't delete it. Had fun tonight. Glad to be back. Kind of thing. Glad to be doing this. And we got more stuff coming in the future. I touched on it tonight in a bigger way than I thought I would. So yeah, man, we'll do this again soon. I have no idea what I'm going to pull up here, but I'm going to end the show with this.
Let's assume that you've got to this point in the video and you don't agree.
Nope, not that. Something a little more fun. What did I do last time? I don't know. I can't remember. Let's do this. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate each and every single one of you.